Talking about food.
We've got cake. The cake's arrived on the table. We know there are significant health benefits about getting 5 portions of fruit and veg a day. We've been told that for a while. But what about eating 30 different plants a week?
That is what Hugh Fearnley-Whittingstall, who is, of course, best known for his River Cottage cooking series, is now on a mission to promote. He's here to tell us more. And I think you're probably immediately going to say to me, it's not just about plants, so it's not just about vegetables.
Well, it's not just about fruit and veg. It is very much about plants. The new book is called How to Eat 30 Plants a Week. I want to make it as easy as possible and as delicious as possible. Now, the 5 fresh fruit and veg are great, but the plant world is much bigger than that. And the amazing new science tells us that all the plants contribute to a healthy gut microbiome, which in turn is what protects us, gives us immunity, and gives us resistance to things like heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some forms of cancer. So if you can pack in 30 plants a week, you really will reap the benefits. This is hard science. The original study was on 11,000 people whose exact diets were documented over time. They were trying to find out whether vegans, omnivores or vegetarians had the best health outcomes. And actually, there was nothing really to choose between them, except when they counted the exact number of plants that they ate, those who were heading up in the 20s towards 30 were seeing much more benefit. And we got to those, about 10% of the study were already getting to 30, and they had amazing outcomes for their gut microbiome and for their long-term health.
30, though. Sounds like a lot.
It does sound a lot, but you know what? Most of us are already at about 12 or 15 on average. That's because we're totally allowed to include spices and herbs, and also a whole group of foods that I think a lot of us have got room for improvement on. That's pulses, nuts and seeds. So we can all make room for a bit more of them. And you can see some of the food pictures from my book around you. There's a lot of pulses, as well as the greens. Whole grains count, and even the spices count. And another study showed that just by adding a few teaspoons of curry powder to your food every day, if that's the only change you make, you still get a small benefit for your gut microbiome and your overall health. So we've got to open our eyes to there are 30,000 edible plants. I've listed 200 of them in my book, all of which will be familiar, none of which are particularly outlandish. You've probably, at some point in your life, tried them all. So the first thing we need to do is remind ourselves what plants we already like. We all get stuck in a little bit of a rut in the kitchen, so it's time when we go shopping to take the blinkers off, look around and see what delicious plant foods are all around us.
I think one of the reasons everybody gets stuck in a little bit of a rut in the kitchen is that they probably go to the supermarket and buy the same things all the time. And at the moment, when you go to the supermarket, lots of people are paying very close attention to the cost. Yeah. We talk about it a lot here on this programme, you know, that the shopping trolley is getting more and more expensive every week. If we're going to start eating more, like a wider variety of plants and vegetables, isn't that going to make our shopping more expensive?
It doesn't have to. You know, included in this whole reams of fruit and vegetables, some lovely inexpensive foods. This is a cookbook. It does mean spending a little bit of time in the kitchen, but things straight off the shelf, like tins of pulses, things from the freezer, like peas, beans, they're all very, very healthy foods. I'm very keen on whole foods and unprocessed foods, but the freezer and the store cupboard are still really good sources of excellent plant nutrition.
So it doesn't have to be an organic farmer's market in a quaint village. It can be the supermarket freezer section.
I'd love it if it was an organic farm, but no, you're absolutely right. The veg section, freezer section in the supermarket is a great place to have There's one recipe in my book, standby supper soup. I'm betting that almost anyone could make it. If you've got an onion or a carrot lying around, a tin of beans and some peas in the freezer, you're already 5 plants in, a little bit of garlic and a bit of spice, and you've got a 7-plant soup from what you've already got in the cupboards at home.
Only 23 more to go.
Well, you could make a start on the porridge loaf. There's 7 plants in my breakfast porridge loaf. That's a very simple loaf tin of oats and nuts, seeds and fruits.
No holding back there from Nugent.
I've also got a courgette cake over here.
So we've got this is the porridge loaf.
It's porridge loaf. So it's whole oats, porridge oats mixed with a little bit of yoghurt, dried fruits and nuts baked in a tin. You can have it with or without a little bit of butter. You can toast it if you like. It's a very portable breakfast, actually. You can take that with you wherever you go. It literally takes 10 minutes to throw together and 45 minutes in the oven, and that's your breakfast sorted.
So that's 7 in this one. 7?
Yeah, 7.
I don't think he'll be able to speak
I'm getting slightly
again.
obsessed with the numbers here, trying to get everything. Did I read somewhere that even a coffee counts as one?
A good coffee counts.
And chocolate.
There are polyphenols in coffee that are really good that you can't get from other plants. Chocolate, the darker the better, definitely counts as a plant. So once you realise that chocolate's in, coffee's in, the spices are all in, you enjoying that?
Yeah. I would say it'll put hairs on your chest.
Pardon?
Yeah, well, it's a breakfast loaf. It's to get you going in the morning. It's to pack in some energy.
Yeah.
Lots of nuts, dried fruits and seeds, and a good bit of old-fashioned oats.
Hugh, you're not eating it.
Okay,
I was going to say.
Absolutely ready to tuck in.
Thank you for bringing it in. It's great.
It's an absolute
Now you're going
pleasure.
to eat and we're going to ask you a question. I'm so sorry, but...
No, I can do it.
Good. So that's the porridge one. What's the other one? What's in this other one here?
It just goes to show that even when you're cooking a tea time treat, you can pack in the plants. This is a courgette, lemon and honey loaf. So that's like a lemon drizzle cake, but it's got some grated courgette.
Are you sure?
Absolutely sure. Poppy seeds. It's made with whole grains, a little bit of light wholemeal flour. So it's got 2 whole grains, several seeds. It's got the lemon zest as well as the juice. That definitely counts as a plant. And it's got that lovely little honey glaze on the top.
Lemon zest, there's another one. We're up a few more. It's interesting that you're in today because we've got 2 big food health-related stories. Yeah. First of all, this new study that's found that some of these sort of weight loss drugs that we've seen Hollywood celebrities using to shed the pounds, that can have fantastic benefits, according to a UK academic study on heart health, cardiovascular health. I just wonder whether going forward people might prefer to do that than do this, that drugs are easier than...
If you are suffering from illnesses associated with being overweight, then if you can take that weight off, that's definitely going to help. So these drugs do definitely have a role. But in the long term, they are no substitute for healthy eating. Once you've maybe got that weight off, it's a good time to really start thinking about your diet and, of course, packing in the plants.
And also, as John was saying, it's the Farm to Fork Summit today. What could the government be doing to support farmers and support people to go on to buy their produce?
I would say a lot more. It is going to be super interesting to see what the Prime Minister has in mind for the horticulture sector. We could be growing far more of our own fruit and vegetables in this country, and farmers are absolutely dying to do it. But the problem is they don't feel that they've got the security in the market. The big retailers don't always treat them fairly. We need to see more of an approach to big retailers buying whole crops, relaxing their cosmetic standards a bit, so not everything has to look perfect.
So we all have to relax our cosmetic standards a bit, basically.
We do, especially when the weather gets tough. It's harder to produce those perfect... I made a TV series for the BBC a while ago about this problem of food waste, and a phenomenal amounts of food are discarded just because the carrots aren't completely straight, or the cauliflowers have opened just a tiny bit. These are all factors of natural production, and including the weather. So we all have to relax our attitude to what food looks like and bear in mind just what incredible good it does us when we eat it, especially the plants.
Hugh, thank you so much for coming in. Thank you for baking for us as well.
It's been an absolute
I promise
pleasure.
none of this will be discarded. I can guarantee.
No, that would definitely not be wasted.
I've talked to the guys around the corner and they've got their eye on it.
They're queuing up outside.
They'll be lucky. Yeah.
Hugh's book, it's called How to Eat 30 Plants in a Week, is out now.